let's go back to the first part of the agenda where I skipped the Chancellor's reports and the incredibly important President's reports. All yours, Chancellor.
All right, thank you very much, President Lewis. I'd like to start. I always like to keep the presidents on their toes so they don't know who I'm going to call on first. So they're all prepared to jump right in. But for tonight, we'll start with Laney College and President Besikof, followed by Berkeley City College with President Angélica Garcia, and then with President Dr. Nathaniel Jones III at College of Alameda, and last and certainly not least, Dr. Johnson at Merritt College.
Good evening, Chancellor, members of the board, colleagues in education, and valued community members. First of all, I'd just like to start off tonight by saying that it's always a thrill for me when I get to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's so cool. So just wanted to say that. I'd like to begin my report tonight by really highlighting a partnership with Oakland-based metal recycling firm Schnitzer Steel Industries. We are embarking on a 3-year partnership, and this is so exciting, to support our career and technical education programs. In the first year alone, $35,000 will be donated by Schnitzer to our machine technology and welding technology departments, with an additional $15,000 being donated to the foundation for scholarships in the future. In addition to this incredible gift, the partnership also guarantees work-based learning opportunities as well as pathways to employment that will ultimately provide livable wages for our students. This partnership really would not be possible without the hard work of our Dean of Career and Technical Education, Alejandra Tomas, as well as the support of Lenice Jones, the Executive Director of the Peralta Colleges Foundation. But also special thanks to Tassian Kwame-Lele, who is the Government and Public Affairs Manager at Schnitzer, as well as a board member for our very own Peralta Colleges Foundation. Always great when I get to talk to you about external partners, and just wanted to share that this evening. In addition, within your board report this evening, you'll see some information about our food distribution efforts, which I'm happy to report will now be continuing at least through the end of the fall semester. And at the very end of our report, we've included an update for you on our facilities as well as our technology. And this is a regular report that's prepared by our Director of Facilities and Operations, Amy Marshall, as well as our Director of IT, Rupinder Bhatia. And within the summary, there's actually a link to a more detailed report in case you want to get down to the kind of nitty-gritty of what's happening on our Laney campus. Finally, this evening, I'd like to spotlight 2 of our alumni. It's always great to get to tell these stories as well. Former Laney alumnus CJ Anderson, former NFL star with the world champion Denver Broncos, as well as the Los Angeles Rams, has taken the head coaching job at Monte Vista High School in Danville. And I think as you read the report this evening, you're going to see that these student athletes at Monte Vista are not just going to be getting a great football coach, but a great life coach as well. And I think it's something for which all of us at Laney are proud, and proud of our athletic department as well. In addition to that, I'm pleased to share that Gabriela Manrique, mechanical engineering student at Laney College, has been selected by the NASA Community College Aerospace Scholars to attend the NCAS virtual experience during the summer and spring sessions. Manrique will learn about NASA's missions, get to plan a mission to the moon or Mars, and receive support and guidance by NASA mentors in this virtual experience. There's a great quote from her within this report, but in addition to that, she goes on to thank our truly outstanding engineering professor, Mallory Barkdale. So lots of good news from Laney, and with that, I'll conclude my report.
Good evening, President Napolia Bellarice, Chancellor Jackson, trustees, colleagues, and community members. This week, Berkeley City College, I believe along with our sister colleges, is participating in the Enrollment Management Academy sponsored by the California State Chancellor's Office in collaboration with UC San Diego. This 3.5-day academy encompasses all aspects of enrollment management, from nuts and bolts of calculation, fiscal impact and management, the importance of data integrity, all the way to student outreach strategies that really allow us the opportunity to ensure that we are serving students directly based on their programmatic needs. While it's still in the middle of the academy, the team at BCC is already in the process of developing further strategies in regards to schedule development, outreach, and really looking at how we align our planning with our student-centered funding formula. So I'm grateful for the team that's doing that work with colleagues from all across the state and across our district. The next item I'd like to share is that the Campaign for College Opportunity is going to be releasing a new report regarding the implementation of AB 705. Throughout April and May of this year, the campaign engaged various community college leaders across California in conversations about how college level placement is progressing at their respective campuses, and recognizing that the past year has really exacerbated inequities in the higher education system due to COVID-19, the economic recession, renewed calls to advance racial injustice, address racial injustice. There really is an urgent need to understand how these threats have impacted students and how it's impacted our colleges. So Berkeley City College was one of 13 colleges. We were really proud to be included in this report. And just as a summary cap here, AB 705 took effect in 2018, and colleges were required to fully implement these new standards for student placement by fall 2019 for English and math. And recent implementation reports using fall 2019 data show that students are directly enrolling in college level English and math at higher rates than ever before. More specifically, 57,000 more students across the state completed Gateway English courses, and 31,000 more students completed Gateway Math on their first attempt. And this is compared to fall 2015. BCC was among 13 colleges that were included in this report. Really grateful to the work of the faculty, administration, classified professionals who worked diligently to support BCC being an early adopter and full implementer of AB 705. And I would be remiss if I didn't note that as a multi-college district, it's not as if we did that alone. That was in conversation, in discussion with colleagues from across the district. So we are honored to be able to represent the Peralta Community College District. As was shared earlier this evening, we have our newly elected officers for the Berkeley City College Classified Senate. So I just want to echo the congratulations to President Andrea Williams, Vice President Dr. Pumi Sayavong, and Treasurer Jennifer Lenahan. I really look forward to continued work and support of the professional development for our classified professional colleagues. Also want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the support of the Chancellor and this board for the appointment of Mr. Christopher Lewis as the new Dean of Science, Math, and Career Education. We are excited to bring him on board and provide the leadership for continued growth in our division. And in closing, I really would like to acknowledge and thank our Local 39 colleagues for their work in ensuring that our physical spaces on campus remain clean, safe, and provide a healthy working environment, especially during these times. Thank you very much. That concludes my report for Berkeley City College.
Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and guests. In my June 22nd board report, I indicated that I would provide the board with a high-level data and information regarding our aviation maintenance technology program requested by the board. I plan to do that this evening. The AMT program operates under the approval of the Federal Aviation Administration and is located at Harbor Bay Park next to the Oakland International Airport. AMT graduates are highly sought after by local airline companies, including United and American Airlines, with whom the College of Alameda maintains close working relationship. As you may recall, In 2018, the United States Economic Development Administration awarded the program a $3 million grant to expand and improve its facilities and to serve more students. The AMT program provide well-trained technicians to meet critical aviation workforce demand needs. They earn livable wages. Prior to the pandemic, enrollment in the program had been increasing. Under the leadership of the department chair, Hoi Ko, and the AMT faculty, they were able to continue to provide instruction this past year with special approval by the FAA, using a combination of in-person instruction as well as online instruction. In-person instruction being done in a safe manner using appropriate protocols. Over the past 4 years, on average, we've had 26 sections, had headcount of 611, and FTES of 164. We anticipate that enrollment will rebound after the conditions related to the pandemic begin to wane. The College of Alameda Free Produce Market has returned to campus and will be held twice monthly through the end of the fall term on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 12 to 3. A variety of healthy, fresh fruits and vegetable and other foods are available at no charge to students and communities who are welcome to take advantage of this resource. The Office of Student Activities and Campus Life is seeking volunteers. If you're interested in helping in this program, please feel free to contact Director Natalie Rodriguez for information on how you might volunteer. The COA Cougar Closet is now accepting donation of lightly used professional attire, baby and kids' clothes, diapers, as well as personal items. Your generous donation will help students care for their families and prepare for job interviews. So clean out those closets and help students in the process. Please feel free to contact again Director Rodriguez for details on donations. Lastly, on June the 24th and 25th, I, along with other Peralta College presidents, attended the League's 2021 CEO Leadership Academy, where we received information and participated in discussion on many relevant topics, such as enrollment recovery strategy, return to campus legal update, DEI panel discussion, effective media communication, among others. My colleague, Dr. Garcia, has already mentioned the fact that we, like the other colleges, will have or do have a team that is participating in the Enrollment Management Academy. So that ends my report this evening. Thank you for your time.
All right, all right. So good evening, President Napoli Abella-Reese, trustees, Chancellor, and Peralta colleagues. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. Pleased to share the report from Merritt College. I'm going to start with some very exciting developments regarding space utilization. I know that doesn't sound exciting, but space utilization planning in the Barbara Lee building at Merritt College, otherwise known as the S building. Our preliminary discussions consider the relocation of our Division I, our Liberal Arts and Social Sciences Division, from the D building to the first floor S building shell space. And we also envision the creation of a state-of-the-art cybersecurity lab along the first floor corridor as well. But we anticipate the largest space in the building, which is the ground floor shell, that's going to be the new home of our microscopy, histotechnology, and biosciences programs. And then finally, we plan to designate the third floor galleries, the one with the beautiful view looking out across the city. We're going to designate that as the Barbara Lee Center for social justice and civic engagement. We've had some representatives from her office come up, and we're on the good foot in terms of moving forward toward that. And this space will afford our students the academic setting to learn, study, and research really the rich history of political participation and direct social action from a local, state, national, and global perspective. So in the coming months, we'll be working with our faculty, classified professional staff members, administration, students, and participatory governance groups and community partners to bring these plans into sharper focus. So please stay tuned. In closing, I just want to express my appreciation to everyone who came together to secure the Merritt College campus over this 4th of July. And if you've never been up here around 4th of July, you may wonder why I'm choosing to underscore this, but it's a really daunting situation because we have literally hundreds of cars that want to come up here. So, because as many of you can attest, the view from our grounds is pretty breathtaking, and this makes Merritt just a very popular place for folks to assemble and watch fireworks. Unfortunately, we've experienced from time to time those who descend upon the campus every 4th of July sometimes engage in behavior that's a little disruptive and sometimes dangerous. It's a high fire area, wooded surroundings, environs. So understandably so, we're very concerned. So upon visiting the campus on the evenings of July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, it was extremely reassuring to see officers from Marina Security and A1 Security patrolling the campus and monitoring the entrances. We also had safety officers from the Merritt College Administration of Justice program. They provided support. They were scouting the grounds and reporting issues that they encountered. There are students, so we were it was really edifying to see them get some practical experience and lean in. But I also want to thank in particular our Vice Chancellor of General Services, Etheria Smith. She's the one that kind of quarterbacked that. Our Vice President of Administrative Services at Merritt, Garth Queeson, Paul Yanez from Knowledge Save Lives. I want to thank the Administration of Justice Department Chair, Professor Mildred Oliver, and her amazing predecessor, the beloved Miss Margaret Dixon. So everyone came together, and you hear so much negativity. I just wanted to share that they did a really good job and standing in the gap. So with that said, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Presidents. I appreciate that. I would like to concede some time for my Chancellor's report to give the board an update by Mark Johnson, our Executive Director of Marketing, Public Relations, and Media. I always call the wrong name, Mark. I apologize. I'm so used to MPRC. So basically our PIO, as people like to refer to him as, but he has a much broader role than just that. So Mark, if you would give the board an update of our webpage. We're in the process of making some changes, and I'd just like to give you a sneak preview. And I'd also like for our student trustees, maybe not at this meeting, but also to give us your feedback on how you view this new change. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark, and then I'll close out my report.
Great. Thank you very much, Chancellor. Thank you, President Reese, trustees, colleagues. It's my pleasure to give you an update on our website redesign project. Can you all see my browser and the website redesign slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I just have a few slides to show, and then I'm going to jump in and actually show you a demo of our new website. But first, a quick project overview. The Peralta website is the front door for information about the Peralta Community College District. And it's a little awkward for us because our website has not been redesigned in about 10 years, which is a really long time in internet years. So last year in 2020, we began a project to redesign the website with 4 really main goals. The first is, of course, attracting prospective students. Second is accessibility, providing a better experience for visually impaired users in particular. Thirdly, to have our content available in a mobile optimized format. As more and more people are using their mobile devices, that's really important. And the last thing is for better integration with our HubSpot marketing system for enhanced communications with students and prospective students. Quick recap of where we are. As I told you back in January, we installed Google Analytics, and we've been analyzing our data so that we understand how people are engaging with our website and some opportunities for us to enhance that website experience. We've solicited input from students and employees. We created a site design mock-up in-house by Marcus Creel, the district graphic design specialist, did a great job on the markup based on the input that we received. Myself and Aaron Harbour, the district web content developer, have been showing the mock-up at different groups, including our district technology committee. And I want to give a lot of gratitude to Matthew Goldstein and Antoine Mehoulet, the co-chairs of the district technology committee. We really appreciate the opportunity to keep them up to date with what we're doing. We've also had sessions with the Peralta Classified Senate. Thank you, Terrence, with students, including Trustee Cooper, thank you, and Cabinet. And we worked with a company called Marketing Migrations to build the design in the HubSpot content management system. We're currently using WordPress, so this is something new for us. So here's just a quick screenshot. That image on the right comes from our website as of yesterday. The image on the left comes from our website in January 2012. I pulled that off of the Internet Archive Wayback Machine. And you can see with just a few subtle differences, the design hasn't changed. And we really need it to be better than that. So here is my last slide that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to go over from the slide into the actual website. The idea for the design is to start with some basic information across the top, apply and enroll, about the colleges, some of our key external properties like Safe Peralta, Build Peralta, and the Peralta Colleges Foundation, our staff directory, and our quick search. The next level down is our key navigation area. And we've really reconsidered how we're doing this. Right now, you sort of have to understand the organization of Peralta to find information on the Peralta website. And what has come out of our many discussions is that we really need to think about our user perspective. What does a student need from the Peralta website? What do employees need from the Peralta website? And what do our community members need from the Peralta website? So we've reimagined the navigation layers based on those 3 big important cohorts for us. The next level down is an opportunity to put announcements. We have the opportunity for a hero image to show off faces like our smiling graduates. We have links to the colleges. I've received some feedback that we can enhance these links by adding the logos at this point, which I think is a really great feedback. And I want to emphasize that this is still preliminary. So if you do have suggestions, let me know. What we call a CTA, or a call to action to enroll online now. The next section is pulling content from our blog, the Peralta Gems newsletter, so we can continue to put our best foot forward out there for the community. And then the next section down is events at Peralta. And we're still talking about how best to effectively do this, but at the very least, we'll be going from each of the 4 college sites and pulling events and consolidating them so that there's one space that people throughout the community to go to find out where the events that are happening on campus. We have a bit more opportunity or some real estate for promotion, links to the colleges, and then what we call the technical name, the really big footer at the bottom. I want to show you something very that's, like I said, one of the key things that we wanted to do was we wanted to have a site design that is mobile optimized. This website, built in the HubSpot content management system, has what we call a responsive design. And as I change the size of the browser window, you can see that the content is changing. So that if people are looking at it on their mobile phone or a tablet, they're still going to have a rich experience and they're going to be able to easily navigate through the site. So that's something that I'm really proud of so far. The other thing I'm really proud of is that in one of our recent demos, a visually impaired colleague went back and looked after the demo and said that this new version of the website works really well with his audio reader. So we'll continue to test out our accessibility to make sure that we're meeting the WCAG requirements and our mobile responsiveness. I just want to show you just a couple more. So this is what the interior pages look like. We've got space for content, for images. The menu on the interior pages is contextual for that specific part of the site. So if we're looking at the Chancellor's part of the website, for example, here, there are links to the Chancellor's staff. There's even a link to the archive of Chancellors over the existence of Peralta. And I'd be remiss if I didn't show the Board of Trustees website. So this is what we've got so far here with contact information. I updated the information for our student trustees on the live site. It hasn't been updated yet on this demo. We will get to that. You can see again the menu for once we get down to a phone-sized display, the high-level navigation turns into a drop-down box at the top. So it's still really easy for people to navigate through around the site. And with that, that really kind of concludes my demo. The next steps is that we are continuing to work on the content. So we need to convert the content from our current WordPress site over to the new HubSpot content management system. So Aaron Harbour from the marketing team will be working with different stakeholders at the district departments to make that happen. The second thing is that there is a ton of content on the Peralta website now. We're talking PDFs and files that go back, literally a decade because the site has been around since 2011. So we're thinking about how best to archive that, and it's probably not going to be archived in the new website. So it would be archived in probably SharePoint, which is our internal service, since most of that is information that's relevant for employees at best. And with that, I'll gladly answer any questions that you might have, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any questions or input? I did see Micah saying good job.
I think we have a few.
Just really appreciate the attention to detail in terms of accessibility.
I think we have Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan and Trustee Delphine Polk, and then I also have a question.
Great. Thank you for the demonstration. I think probably in the most critical component of this is how user-friendly this is for students in terms of finding classes, finding programs, registering, getting financial aid, access to student services. And for that, I really appreciate that you got some user group people trying to navigate it. And what I would really, if you're not already doing this, really, really, really work that piece. Like complete strangers, novices, people who have zero experience with Peralta, figure out how to get tests from those people. to see how long did it take them to register for a class? How long did it take them to, to actually get enrolled, find their classes, find services, et cetera. If we don't do that, I think we're failing. And, and maybe on Flex Day, in the fall, get the entire district to go through an exercise of trying to do that. Like, all right, what's it actually like to navigate our website so that we understand what our students are dealing with? So that's, I think probably the most important part. And then secondly, how user-friendly is this for faculty and staff? So, wide testing on this, particularly divisions and programs that are trying to put up and highlight their content. I think you probably understand that we're dramatically understaffed in this area. So creating content that, really highlights our programs. We don't have enough ability to do that, but maybe figuring out how do we tap into the super users to do the, each one teach one or something like that. So I'm sure you've thought those through. If you haven't, take those as friendly suggestions. I noticed then also when you showed the student, the trustee page, the old trustee page that I was looking at today, for some reason, doesn't have, like the current trustee page doesn't have our current photos. And at some point those were there and now they're gone. And it's defaulted to some photo that makes me look like a teenager.
And you have a complaint against that, Nikki?
Well, when you have white hair, you figure you've earned it. Honestly, I've earned it. So let me just show that. But photos, I think picture tells 1,000 words. I think a photo on those pages would probably, I realize they load slower, especially on phones, et cetera, but I think that it humanizes representatives of our community who are the representatives of our community instead of just being a random name. In the past, there's also been links to brief bios so that people who want to know something about who in fact represents the community has an opportunity to find out a little bit, a couple sentences, something along those lines. I don't mean pages and pages. Thank you so much for the initiative. This is long overdue. Kudos to you and your staff, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Thank you. I recognize that this is a very large undertaking. So hopefully you may have thought of an answer to the question I'm going to ask. I think I actually asked this of you during your last presentation. Language access, is this going to be available in other languages? Because I understand that we have members of our community who whose first language is not necessarily English. Do you have that on your radar?
I do, yeah. We haven't, it's on my radar. We haven't started functionally making that happen. Right now, the current website is done with a Google Translate option. It's not actually native to the website as itself. So we've, that's one of the options that we're going to explore.
Thank you.
I will say, Trustee Delphine Polk, I want to give a shout out to my colleagues from our Hispanic Serving Institutes. We have been working on translating many of our ads into Spanish, and some things that we have that are coming very soon is Spanish language ad that will be rolling around town on AC Transit buses. And we have banners and videos that are in process that should air starting sometime in August.
That's great.
So that's on the way.
Thanks.
Great work, Mark. Just a comment and a couple of questions. Really great work. It's wonderful to see that. And thank you for the translatability between looking at the content on a phone and on a laptop. It still surprises me that there are websites out there that don't actually have that translatability thought in, kind of implemented in. The question that I have is this just for the Peralta website, or is this for all of or do the colleges have their own web designers?
I am so glad that you asked that question, President Reese. We are viewing this as a sort of pilot. Currently, the 4 college websites are managed on the HubSpot, on the WordPress content management system. And the great thing about WordPress is that it's free. The unfortunate thing about WordPress is that it's free, and people don't make that investment. Therefore, they don't make that commitment to really keeping up with it. And as my colleagues at the 4 colleges know, sometimes that means that the website doesn't give all the attention that it needs in order to stay truly up to date. So what we are viewing is that this is a pilot program to show what a content management system like HubSpot would do for us. It gives us much tighter integration with our marketing tools, the system that we use for sending email and for sending SMS text messages. It's all round up together in HubSpot. So there are a number of automation options and synergies that we have because of that. It's also pretty low cost. We're doing a lot of this work in-house. Give a real shout out to Aaron Harbour, the current web content developer. He's done a great job at learning the HubSpot content management system and is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in-house. Also, Marcus Creel, the designer in our house, is doing a lot of the work within HubSpot. The way that works is we spend a lot of time up front taking our cascading style sheets, the page layout style guides, and getting those to work well. And then once those templates are set within the content management system, then it's just a matter of uploading words and pictures and videos, really. And so we've made a lot of progress on that front in-house. I think if we can demonstrate the value of this non-free content management system, that perhaps the colleges may want to follow suit a year or 2 down the line. But right now, we do not have plans to force anybody to do anything, but we are exploring this as an alternative system to see if it would ultimately be a benefit. And the single huge advantage of possibly integrating the 4 college websites with the district website is the expanded function of our marketing tools for email, SMS, and website automation. If a person visits this page and they've received this email, then we send them this text message. That's a really exciting possibility that we have. The other thing is that HubSpot is hosted in the cloud, so we don't have to pay a company like InMotion Hosting, our current vendor, for their server space to host our website. It's supported in the cloud. It's part of our content management fee, which is nice.
Good. And the last,
I hope that helps.
It does. And I hope that the colleges find it worthy and that they follow suit, because it looks great thus far. It really definitely does. So good work. And the last thing is, Trustee Withrow and I have been talking about this quite a bit. It'd be really wonderful, and I'm sure you all have thought about this, it'd be really wonderful to get the testimonies or quotes from students that have gone through and experienced, like CJ Anderson, Gabriela Manriquez, for example, just mentioned today from Laney College, right? Would love to actually show the public how many wonderful things our students have been doing and are doing. Like, that needs to be out there. So if you can get that on the Peralta website and all the college websites, I think that would be an incredible marketing tool, because it's our students speaking, not us, right?
100% agreed. Thank you.
And I believe we have one more comment. Student Trustee Cooper.
Just pre-qualification here. This is a comment to the board as a whole on this, and I just love all the amazing work and progress I'm seeing here. I do just want to note, just for the sake of putting it in our minds, thank you, Diana Delphin Polk, for your mention about ESL readers who might be navigating our page. I just have the slightest bit of concern with, the kind of a cart before the horse idea when I hear, oh, we're kind of working on, effective translations on the page. Understandable. But are we advertising to get them in here? Oh, you betcha, so I do understand, but I just want to make sure that as we've found ourselves in the situation where we're attracting individuals into our system that we haven't necessarily fully accommodated yet, that we make sure that we note that, and that is just a fire under our ears, top priority. Because I'm sure you all know there's some major translation limitations to Google Translate. But still, amazing progress. Just wanted to make sure that that was a top priority. Thanks so much.
We are good. I think Chancellor, back to you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for their presentations tonight. I usually try to keep my report short, but I would be remiss if I didn't speak at least a little bit to the return to campus. I mentioned it when student trustee Cooper asked about some of the projects that came before the board tonight. And I want to say that is a reflection of the work that IVC Smith and her team, along with AECOM and our legal team, got through all of those contracts to be able to bring it to the board for ratification and approval tonight. The board has constantly reminded us and stated that the health and welfare of our students and staff are a primary concern. And of course, we're going to abide by those guidelines. And we are in the process of finalizing some workplace conditions and making sure that they're in compliance with OSHA as we establish our preliminary plans. Just a couple of points. We're looking at moving and having what we call a soft opening or reopening this fall. We are still going to have face-to-face courses. We're looking at those critical courses that need to be there, as well as expanding some of the courses based upon faculty's desire to return to campus. We're doing that in a concerted effort. We're looking at 2 phases. We've already got our schedule out for the campuses. So we've identified what buildings we're going to need for immediate use in the fall. And some of those contracts are going to address those. We're not looking at opening up the entire campuses. And then phase 2 will be ongoing testing and intensive cleaning initiative that will further prepare the buildings to be fully operational for the spring 2022 reopening. And I'd like to end my report with a recognition of service. And Sasha, if you could bring up the picture. Many times, as you said, President Reese, we acknowledge individuals on our campus, students and faculty. And at the last board meeting, it was mentioned in the classified Senate report that Brenda Lewis, who is a College of Alameda staff assistant, will be retiring this year, has retired this year after 30 years of service to the district. Brenda came into the district in 1991. I met her in 2004, so I've known her for 17 years, little more than half the time that she's worked for the district. And so I wanted to put her picture up there. I want you to see what she looks like. And I would like to ask the board if they would entertain closing this meeting in recognition of her 30 plus years of service to not only College of Alameda, but for the district as a whole. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We will definitely do that. Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you, presidents. All right, let's move to the consent calendar. I believe that's